Let's get to Shams here. He dropped an article on The Athletic yesterday, his inside pass. And according to the NBA Insider, teams are believing that now, more than ever, either Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby could be traded by the February 8th deadline. This makes some sense. Toronto has lost 4 games in a row. They 9-14 on the season.
Wow.
And both players, I mean, really talented players, they could improve nearly any team in the league, right? You slot either of those guys in. I mean, I think it takes a good team to a great team, or a great team to possibly a championship team. So the question here is, Tass, true or false? Because of where the Raptors are right now, they have no choice but to trade either Siakam or Anunoby. True or false?
Oh, being a Raptors backer, this is hard, but I think this is true. They're 9-14. They're sub 500. If they want to be a 500 team, keep it together. But at some point, I think they want to pull the trigger on somebody like Siakam or Anunoby, because hopefully maybe it gets you a draft pick that will get you that guy that can lead you to the playoffs, to deeper playoffs. Somebody that isn't Siakam, Anunoby, or Scotty Barnes. Somebody who has the ability to be a number one scorer, because obviously Pascal Siakam was a complimentary player on a championship team. He can do that. Maybe Scotty can do that. Who knows if OG can do that? He wasn't a part of that playoff run. But to go in a different direction, I think you got to. Mm-hmm. Who the heck is it? That's tough. Pascal Siakam has said he doesn't want to be dealt. He wants to be a Raptor. He's going to be a free agent, though. He's turning 30 at the end of this season. That could be the guy, but maybe it doesn't get you a lot back. OG might get you more back. And I do find it interesting, we're talking about the Indiana Pacers, because they shoot the ball from 3, even Miles Turner steps out. For Siakam to be that starting 4 over Obi Toppin, he could have helped in that final to guard LeBron James. Or OG Anunoby is an incredible perimeter defender, but I bring up there a three-point shooting team because Siakam can do it inside the three-point line with all those guys spraying the floor. That guy's a great scorer. He can spin you to death. OG Anunoby will get the most out of him there as well, but also a great three-point shooter. So the Pacers are going to be calling, I think, and asking. And the Raptors are going to finally do it. I mean, they have 3 guys in Barnes, Anunoby, and Siakam who are...
Well, Barnes is untouchable, according to reports, and probably should be.
Emulate each other. There's so much of that. Great defenders. But what do you want to be? You want to be a 500 team?
Well, I guess. Exactly. They have settled into the most uninspiring mediocrity you could think of right now, this team, that I watch every single game they play. I mean, that's where they're at. They probably should have made this move prior, but we're here now. And Sham says teams like the Hawks, the Kings, the Pacers, expected suitors. He does say that Siakam is the more likely of the two to be traded. Maybe that part of that is the contract situation. Siakam makes $38 million in his final year here. He's going to obviously hit free agency. Could be in line for still a big payday. And then OG makes about $20 million per year. He has a player option, which, I mean, most people think he will decline and hit the free agent market. Exactly. So he's going to go from 20 to probably $30 million a year player. But he's younger than Siakam, but he's not as good. So the answer to this is absolutely true, though. I mean, they've just doubled down on keeping sort of this core. I mean, even going back to the Pirtle trade last year, giving up a pick to get him, they've just doubled down on being in that sort of mushy middle of the league, and not even middle at this point anymore. So that's the worst place to be. I think you need to sort of cut bait on one of these guys and really get guys and get back to developing players and find that draft pick, that high pick maybe, to pair alongside Scotty Barnes in 2 or 3 years here. I think they're going to have to get very bad before they get good again. That's what you usually have to do. Yeah,
and it would be odd to go into free agency with OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam and say to both of them, hey, we're going to sign you to these monster deals, because they both will warrant big contracts. The only way I think you keep them is that if you have contracts which are easily tradable, like you sign OG to less than he's going to get. He's going to get a big, big payday. Pascal, maybe at his age you can try and convince him. I'm just talking about convincing these guys, take a little bit less. We want to trade. We want to get to be better than 500. But I think it would be just so ridiculous to do that, to go pay them both, as we see what this team is, and so going into free agency where they're both going to be free agents. OG's not going to get paid $19 million next year. He's not going to opt in for that. He's going to get out and go get paid. So the Raps, they just can't go forward with this. They can't go forward with Pascal, OG, and Scotty Barnes, who they're trying to make that number one player. I understand. And Darko Rajakovic, I think, is doing a really good job, period. But they're not getting the most. Pascal's not having a fantastic year. He's not playing to his capability. So that's why I think Pascal may get moved here. And he is 3 years older. But I think we're seeing peak OG. I think we've seen peak Pascal in the years past. It's time, baby.
Here's the problem. This is the Raptors organization that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And even in Sham's report, negotiations with the Raptors will always be, in the words of one rival executive, a game of chicken.
Yes.
They are notoriously not easy to make a deal with. I mean, they want to win every deal, and they are going to ask for, a million draft picks, and you're probably going to roll your eyes at what some of these, or what they're expecting back in return for some of these players, even when they're literally going to be like expiring deals, really, for the most part. So that's the complication here.
Yeah.
Masai and Bobby Webster finally, swallowing their pride maybe a little bit, and having to get worse. Because as soon as these guys leave the team, I can't imagine they're getting better players back in the immediate. Mm-hmm. So that means they're going to be worse. And you're going to have to sort of live with that for a year or two or three. However quick you can sort of turn that around.
Yeah. Unless they've adapted to this new NBA, I totally get why previously, when guys like Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell got huge packages back, you would say, we want that type of package. But things have changed. Mm-hmm. Things have changed since the new CBA signed.
Yeah.
You don't get as much back. So hopefully the Raptors organization has adapted, because watching what happened with Fred VanVleet, they didn't go out and pay him a ton. They didn't pay him as much as what happened with Houston. And I think that bodes well. Even though they didn't get anything for Fred VanVleet, at least they didn't pay him to lock into a 500 team for years and years and years and years. And that's why I think the same will happen with Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby. They move on. And hopefully it is for a great draft pick, because 9-14 ain't that good.
Where would you like to see, let's say, Siakam land? Would it be Sacramento? You think it's Indiana? You think it's the Hawks, who Shams reported, this has been going on for a while, that they were nearing, I guess, some sort of deal during the summer where Siakam was going to go to Atlanta. Obviously didn't happen, but where would you think he would flourish the most?
I think the Pacers and Hawks is very good, because he locks in as a great perimeter defender. He would help the Pacers and the Hawks. He would lock in as a great scorer on those teams. I'm not sure about the Kings. I know they need a little size because they're getting pounded by the Pels and the Rockets. But what they've got is working.
Yeah, but you'd really be upgrading like a Harrison Barnes, who would have to be in any sort of deal, probably, just contract-wise. I don't think he can be traded until the end of December. So it's like Barnes, and then it would have to be, I guess, like a Herder or a Lyles or something.
Yeah, but upgrade him with what? Siakam specifically?
Putting Siakam in there?
Yeah.
A guy that can play some defense on the wing, on the perimeter?
Yep. Yeah.
I like that.
He's got to play
or
big.
OG too. Is another option. Just a perimeter defensive-minded guy.
Yeah. The thing with OG, he's obviously a very good defender. A fantastic defender. Yeah. They just got to, in terms of Sacramento, just get a little bit larger. And I like him in Indiana, where there's space just to make things happen, because OG's not an incredible on the ball type of guy. But with Indiana, you've got space and they need help defensively. So I'm just not sure with Sacramento. You just go for it years and years and years from now to have him. It's not a downgrade, that's for sure. He's a great player.